Well, obviously, spring ball excitement. It's always great to have the opportunity to get your team out on the field. The off season so far has been very good. Our guys are working very hard. Blue collar have really came with a great mindset. Going into spring ball, the biggest thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we're really working on our fundamentals, player development, and also a competitive edge. That's the things that I think is really important this spring. We have a lot of experience coming back, but we also have some inexperience, and I think there's a good mixture there. So we want to make sure we're developing guys and getting those guys in position. The other thing is, I just want to make sure we get the word out there for the spring game. Friday night, April 3rd. Would love to see a bunch of students, fans, Eagle Nation, best fans in the country. So would definitely love to see them at our game. Unfortunately, day one is going to be day zero today. We got a little bit of inclement weather. I was looking for our indoor keys. I think TK took them to Ole Miss, so I'm not real sure if we'll be able to get in there today. So we'll probably go day zero today. Other than that, what questions do y'all have?
Coach, you've had plenty of time to assess this past year. When you look at it from an offense and a defense standpoint, does anything stand out as in we really need to shore up this or that, or we were really good at this or that?
I think the biggest thing as a football team, we got to make sure our consistency is better. We can't be 1 week this and then 1 week that, as far as when it comes as the mindset. As far as offense goes, a lot of the things last year we were not able to continue to open it up and grow because we did have a lot of injuries on that side of the ball, and there was just a lot of things that we had to fight adversity-wise. Defensively, in the red zone, we got to definitely we got to put emphasis on that, make sure that we get better on that. Offensively, scoring in the red zone, that's going to be key. So a lot of things that we can look back on last year, get our guys focused in on and say, hey, these are the things that we've got to work on situationally, schematically, the different things like that. So there's plenty of things we can point at. I do think there's some positives that came out. I do think we do have a tough group that has a chip on their shoulder that wants to prove that they can have a better record than we had last year. So very excited about seeing what they look like when we start this spring ball.
Initial thoughts, what has you most excited, and about the the mid-year guys who have come in, how have they kind of picked up on things with the conditioning and everything you guys have been putting on their plate?
Well, the one thing that I really can say about our last two recruiting classes, you can really tell that we were able to put a year's worth of work into them, if not more, getting to know them, making sure they fit what we do at Georgia Southern. And, being able to get 11 mid-year guys here this spring semester is big for us because that continues to either, one, have some guys that maybe can be an instant impact, or two, build depth for our football team. And that's something that we, through the transition years here at Georgia Southern, sometimes your classes become misfits as far as what fits you, what fits what you're wanting to do on offense, defense. And, so to have 2 solid years of continuity of doing that type of stuff, it's really good for us. So really looking forward to seeing these 11 guys, but also, too, in the summertime, getting all those guys in. But as far as our team, I really like our senior leadership. We got a lot of guys coming back that really, really want to do a great job for Georgia Southern this year and make Georgia Southern very proud. So very excited about their leadership going into this.
Coach, when you finally do get out on the field, I guess tomorrow now, what's the challenge going to be to your team, to your assistants, about what you guys have to accomplish over the next 2 or 3 weeks before the spring game?
First and foremost, without getting into any specifics, I really intent and purpose. Just having an edge about you. Every single thing that we do, every little thing that we do out there needs to have purpose. I've challenged the coaches, I've challenged our players. That mindset's there. We backed spring ball up this year compared to last year. There was a couple different reasons for that. One, we were not very healthy when the season ended, and I wanted to try to get back as many people as we could to participate in spring ball. Two, the NCAA put a dead period in place for February. So I thought it was important that we were able to practice when recruits could come. But when we get out there, our guys have got to understand that we've got to make sure that we grow every day and we're not on an emotional roller coaster. Consistency will be key. So day in, day out, being consistent, being this much better than we are every day.
Tyler Bass, a 3-year starter at the Combine this week. Who are some guys that you're looking to replace him and be a consistent kicker both for field goals and special teams?
Well, so going into the spring, we're going to have open competition between Bryce Christensen and Alex Rayner as the place kicker and as also the kickoff guy. We do have a recruit in Dylan Lewis that's coming, so he's a guy that'll get to compete in August. But again, there's open competition between those two guys this spring, and I think both guys can do it. Both guys have talent. Both guys have a great work ethic. Following Young Wei Koo, following Tyler, somebody's going to have to step up. But we'll be smart. We'll make sure we play to their strengths and not just expect them to be Tyler Bass or Young Wei Koo.
Coach, you bring in Doug Ruse, former offensive coordinator. You worked with him before. It's kind of rare that somebody comes from being an offensive coordinator, comes back as a position coach. There's been speculation, is this going to be a co-offensive coordinator situation? Where do you see him fitting in? And is there any fear of, people looking over their shoulders wondering, oh, he brought this guy in. What does that mean?
Doug Roos is an awesome coach, awesome individual. Bob DeBest is our offensive coordinator, and that's what it is. Coach Roos is going to come in, coach the tight ends. He does have, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. So I do think he adds to that staff room and that staff, but Coach DeBest is going to be our offensive coordinator, and he's going to call the plays. As far as, looking over my shoulder or anything like that, there's a lot of great coaches out there that aren't coaches, and they can definitely have opinions. But I'm going to do what's right for Georgia Southern, and we're going to make sure that we have a great chemistry with our staff. We're going to make sure we have a great culture with our team. I'm not looking for anything that divides us. So everybody understands their roles. Everybody understands what they've got to do, and we're going to move forward from there.
Coach, do you have any updates injury-wise on some guys that Brian Miller, who missed all last year, Logan Wright, who's expected to be back? Any updates on guys like that?
Brian Miller, I don't see us getting him back for the spring. He is seeing the doctor this week. We'll get another an update as far as maybe what he can do. We have heard that maybe he'll be able to start running, maybe do some individual stuff by the end of spring. But right now we're not counting on him doing anything for the spring. But we have great optimism about the fall, and that's great for that kid. As far as Logan Wright goes, he's full go in spring ball. We really could have played him in the bowl game, but it was not worth that risk, and we wanted to make sure we had him healthy, so he'll be good to go. Do you have anybody other specific requests? There's a couple guys that Kendrick Duncan, Raymond Johnson. Those were guys that got banged up toward the end of last year in the bowl game. We're going to be very smart with them as we go through spring ball with them. We do have a couple other guys coming off some things, like Kari Collier that was a freshman for us last year that we redshirted. He was a guy that had ACL surgery, so we're looking to see where he progresses, comes in at the end of the spring. But for the most part, we're doing pretty good. We will have some guys out, but we'll be smart with them. That some of the guys have plenty of experience. I'm not really worried about rushing them along and getting them into spring ball. The main thing is make sure we get them to fall and ready to play. Thank y'all. GATA.